Hi guys, you're watching Total Carp Fishing TV, and today we're taking a look at another great rig that you can produce using Gemini's fantastic tidy booms. This time we'll be looking at the Turbo German rig, and for that, no surprise, you'll need the tidy boom for Turbo German rigs. As with all the tidy booms in the Gemini Carp Tackle range, each pack comes supplied with 3 of the booms, and these are available in 3 different lengths too. You've got 5.5 inch, which is my personal choice for tying this rig, and then you've also got 7 inch and 9 inches for people who prefer longer rigs. So the tidy boom for Turbo German rigs consists of your usual 30-pound boom material. This is really robust and almost invisible in the water. And then at the lead end, you've got a 6mm fused loop, which is not only really neat, but also stronger than any conventional knot. Now at the other end, the fluorocarbon's fused directly to a spinner swivel without a ring and without any sort of loop or hinge in there. That's so that the line runs directly onto the spinner swivel, where you'll then attach your hook. So let's crack on with the rig, and I've got one of the booms out here ready to go. So I've got a boom here that's ready to go. As you can see, one of the 5.5 inch ones. I'll just give that a little twizzle just to check that swivel rotates really nice and freely, which is exactly what you want. Now the other components that you'll need is a hook, and my personal choice would either be a sort of curved pattern or a wide gape hook. Having that nice wide gape also helps with that hook dropping into place, so that's what I'm going to produce the rig with today. You'll then also need hook beads and also some form of bait screw or micro ring swivel to mount your hook bait. Finally, you'll also need some shrink tube just to cover the connection between your spinner swivel and the hook. So the first job is to take your choice of hook, and like I said, I'm going to use a wide gape pattern. Just quickly check the hook point, make sure it's nice and sharp. Yeah, it's lovely and sharp. Then take about 5 to 8 mil of shrink tube. Just pop that over the eye of the hook and then pass the crook of your spinner swivel through the eye. Now personally, I like to go through the front of the eye and out through the back with the spinner swivel, but realistically it doesn't make any difference whatsoever. Then just pull the bit of tubing just down over the join, and you can either boil this in a kettle or just use the heat from a lighter. I like to just add a little bit of saliva just to protect the shrink tube a little bit, just so it doesn't melt the tubing as much. So there you go. And as you can see, I've created a little bend in that, just like you would with a conventional kicker, and that just helps that hook spin and turn when it hits the bottom lip. Now next, you just need to get your micro ring swivel, pass that onto the hook, and then follow this with one of the hook beads. Pass the hook through the little hole on the hook bead, going from the fat end towards the thin end. Just position this round the shank, just round the bend. You can play around with the position of that depending on how heavy or balanced your hook bait that you're using. And this rig is really designed for using with bottom baits and wafters. But like I said, personally, if I was going to use a heavy bottom bait, I'd position that bead further around the bend, just to help bring the hook point down. Or if I was going to be using a really balanced wafter, I'd position it further back up the shank. So that's the rig pretty much complete. All that you need to do now is take a little bit of bait floss, pass that through the eye of the micro hook ring swivel, and then slide on your choice of hook bait. I've got a little wafter here. Now, as you can see, no matter how much I spin and twizzle that boom section, and therefore no matter how the lead lands, that hook is always ready to fall down and be in the perfect position to catch hold in the bottom lip. Same can be said when you do the drag across the palm test, flips and turns really quickly, because you've got that full 360-degree movement. Now another little test that I like to do is if you just hold the hook bait by the floss and pull it back towards you, you can see that the hook actually flips over, so it's always in the perfect position no matter which direction it's being sucked from. So if my finger was the bottom lip of a fish, it's coming over the hook bait, sucked it in, that hook is ready to perfectly catch hold. So there you go, that's all blobbed down and ready to cast out. And it's worth mentioning that where that fuse is bound directly to the swivel, directly to that spinner swivel, and there's no sort of join, there's no hinge there, that actually really helps with the anti-ejection properties of the rig. Because once that goes into the fish's mouth, there's no way that that hook can turn back over backwards and go out. That stiffness just ensures that that hook, once it's in, can only come out the same direction that it's gone into the fish's mouth. So if you do want any more information on this rig, the tidy boom for the Turbo German, or any of the other tidy booms, or in fact any other product in the Gemini range, head to the Gemini website, www.geminicarptackle.co.uk.